more focused on my body and what I have and how I look. But just people that take the time to get to know me, because when they do, they're like, "You're funny. Like you're fun to talk with. Like you're interesting." I was like, "Yes, I know I am." But it's like that's just the part of me too. Is like I don't show that to everybody.
Right.
Because it's not for everybody. Like that's having to be also reserved and protecting your energy with people that will just want to exploit it or just utilize you as like a doormat or having all these other issues that come up. But really, it's you wanting to be a part of the community, but not just finding your tribe within the community. Because, not everybody, birds of a feather flock together, but, at the same time, it's like, well, we got the same feather, but we're not the same kind of bird. So
we're different kind of birds.
That's we all have basically what my breakdown is like we all show our different sides to our different groups within our lives and the people that we interact with. Just because also living certain ways and being so vocal can be very exhausting. And I think everybody that's just always putting their 100 at this, 100 at that, 100, eventually you just deplete yourself. And it's having in moderation. It's like what I said about trying to explain the ocean to somebody that's never seen it.
Right.
Like until they're there to understand and want to know what it is, it's going to be just blowing hot air.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, like what I don't understand is like some lesbians, they don't like to be around gay men, and I'm like, why? Like, you're very masculine, so why wouldn't you hang out with a gay guy? But yet they'll go and hang out with the average, what is it, a heterosexual guy.
Cis male,
It's what?
Cis male.
Yeah, cis male. There we go. And and then, but is it because they can talk about women? Is that what is it? I don't understand that.
What's the same? I think it's like that too with gay men and lesbian women. Like there's like.
No, I mean I've met gay men that don't like women.
Oh. Okay, so do you remember? Okay, so Soph and I used to dance in a troupe. Okay, so we went to this one workshop, and there was this guy. Remember? Mm-hmm. He was dancing, and I was like, "Hi, let me see you dancing." He was like, "No," and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Why?" And then maybe because I didn't understand that. I was like, "Well, you're here dancing with a bunch of women, so why can't I ask you to dance for me?" And he was like, "Mm-mm.
No. See, and that kind of energy, it just drives me crazy. Because it's like I said, you know what? Why can't we just approach each other as human beings?
Yes.
First.
I think it's a sense of, entitlement. Because where I come from and from my hometown, there's not enough of the community for us to shut each other out. Like if anything, the lesbians and the gay guys, the gay males would always hang out and congregate amongst one another because there was safety in numbers. And then you had all the little outliers that hung out with them, who were basically like the the bisexuals, and then the curious ones would come in and out. But that has to do with if you're in a small town, like it's not like that in a small town most of the time, because you find common ground.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things is like the bi-curious ones is it's almost like they're exchanging notes amongst one another on how to navigate small town living. But I was never a part of that because once I got out of school, I went home. Like I used up my social battery during school.
Okay.
After school, I went home, left me alone. I'm home.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay, we're on our last question. So, what are some of the most effective ways to advocate for the advance the rights of LGBTQ plus people? Because like now they have that gender reaffirming care that they're trying to really push, and then they're just not wanting to push it for the kid for adolescents, and then they have like the gender restrooms, like any gender restrooms, and what else like what is it they've already put in like gay marriage and what else I can't think right now. But I mean, I think like for the gender affirming care, I truly believe like we shouldn't allow these young kids to mess with their anatomy until they are fully grown, until they have stopped developing. Because a lot of things can take place. I believe that because your body, what if it rejects all that stuff and you're an adolescent, then you ruined yourself.
It's funny because growing up, and I don't even know why I used to say this and why I used to think this, but just hearing what scientists were always doing or what doctors were always doing, I always used to think to myself, they mess around with way too many things. They mess around with way too many things that you just should not be messing around with. I know a transgender person, and I've known this person for over 30 years, and it's the saddest thing because this person's never been healthy. Never. One health problem after another.
Okay, so
And I love this person, and I think to myself, wow, just what if they hadn't gotten the sex change? Would they be healthier? Would they not have all these health issues? Having gone through in vitro myself, I know what it's like. I used to joke around back when I was going through the whole process that, boy, if all the drag queens knew the amount of hormones I had in my closet, they would be lined up at my door. But it was like what that did to me. Okay, having to take all those hormones, having to mess with my body like that, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. Yeah. I wouldn't. And so as an older woman, when I went into perimenopause, menopause, all of that, and that's where, the whole medication thing, I can't even remember the last time I took an aspirin. It's like I totally stayed away from doctors. I was like, no, I am so done with hormones being pumped into my body. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's more of a concern seeing somebody who is willing to change themselves physically. And it's like, wouldn't it be nice if we lived in a world where people wouldn't have to change themselves?
Yeah. And then
okay, where they just wouldn't have to do that to themselves, where they wouldn't have to put themselves through changes to be, whatever. It's scary. It's scary what scientists do, what doctors do, it's just scary.
I think, like I said, like when you're in your adolescent years, no. Okay, I understand you may think, yes, I'm in a woman's body, a girl's body, but I want to be a male. Okay, I get that. Okay, cool. But don't mess with your body until you are an adult.
Yeah.
Because what if things change? Maybe you're going through that sexual fluidity, and then you're like, no, I like being a girl. And if you start messing with your body that young of an age, there's no going back. There's no going back. So I think one of those rights, I think that is just being protective of that child until they become an adult to understand.
Right.
And I do support that right there. Yes, let's not give gender reaffirming care to 18 and under. Be an adult to make these decisions.
Right.
At least 18 years old, just like it is, that's a legal adult, right?
Well, not really. You can't buy alcohol until you're 21.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be drinking anyways. But who are we to talk?
Well, like as far as advocating for and the rights part of it is just bringing it back to humanity. Like these are people we were talking about.
Yeah.
No matter what they're wanting to be or what they're trying to do, like that's like it goes back to gender identity. That's who they see themselves as, and if that's something that they want to do, I agree. It should wait till you're able to make that decision on your own, but that's your decision to make.
Right.
Who is anybody to tell you what you can and can't do with your hair?
Well, it's like plastic surgery or anything else, really. If that's what it makes you feel better about yourself, then
Altering your body
more power to you.
has been a practice since ancient times. Like it's been done for centuries. And if that's something that'll help them, feel more comfortable in their skin, then that's their personal choice to make. As far as, the rights, there's also this part about understanding that not everybody's gonna understand you. But the only thing that they really should be judging you by is your character, how you are as a person and as a human being, and how much, you respect other people. And, that's one thing I made a commitment to myself when I was younger and I was moving up in the workforce. I wasn't going to be known as, there's so and so, the bisexual or the gay guy or the whatever. Because I know there's Jerome. He's a good worker, he's fun to be around, and he's dependable. Not all these other little labels. And I think that's the part that really other people cannot wrap their minds around, is they're using all of these other labels and definitions to turn away the fact that, or to dismiss the fact that you're still talking about a human being that is still living on this earth with you, and that you're pretty much placing more value in your life than you are in theirs. And we all are in charge and have the ability of making our own decisions in regards to our bodies and the way we live. So advocating for the rights is just, having people take control, and if it's available for them to do it, let them do it.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, like there should be equality. There should be all across the board for what race you are, whether gender, whatever.
But it should still be taken into consideration with best practices. Like this should be available to do it safely.
Right.
And so people aren't scrounging to do it just because they can. And, just understanding the repercussions and how it'll change you, how, it'll affect your overall biology to change in the first place. And then as far as other rights, like marriage equality, I said, Maria, who you marry has nothing to do with me. I am not in that marriage. That is your own sorrow. Because, I just feel like marriage complicates things. But I understand that wanting and that needing to be connected with somebody through the eyes of God or through the eyes of the law. Either way, it's companionship. Like we're cohabitable beings. Like we have to be around one another. Like we can't go a day without that human interaction.
Say the perfect marriage is separate households.
Yeah, I mean, like.
No, and I say that because, my husband has been living with his mother for the past year. She suffered a stroke, and so she couldn't be on her own. And it couldn't have come at a better time because we were going through some difficulties of our own. And, part of it for me was I felt like in our marriage, I was the one who dealt with the kids. I took them everywhere they needed to go. I went to their I did a lot of stuff by myself. And so when this happened, where my husband had to go and take care of his mom, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had to laugh to myself, and I was like, well, you know what? God heard my prayer because now it's your turn. You gotta go take care of your mom. But what has happened, and I tell people this, I'm like, you know, because of this, my husband and I are better friends now than we've been in a long time. And it's nice to get back to that. It's nice to get back to, you know, let's heal this friendship. You can't have a love or anything else with a person if you're not friends first.
True.
You know, so there's a positive side to it. And, you know, just realizing things, it's like I am very comfortable in my own space. I've always said, I don't need company. I like my own company, you know?
Yeah.
I'm good with being a loner, and it took me all my life to accept that because really I've always been a loner growing up. Like I said, I was never part of the in group. I never was.
Yeah.
I never fit in, and I don't think my classmates realized that about me. And it's so funny because it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized things about myself, or I had friends tell me. It's like I once had a friend tell me, boy, people really don't get you. They don't get you. They think all sorts of things about you. They think you're mean. They think you're stuck up. They think this, that, and the other. What they don't realize, you're just in your own little world, Sophia. And you know, I even had a couple of friends say, Sophia, you're like a deaf person stuck in a hearing person's body. And if more people knew that about you, you would make sense to them.
Yeah.
You know? And I even had a teacher, my a martial artist teacher, say that once to me. He said, you know what? I never understood you until I saw you with your mom. And then you made all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah.
You know, but like I said, you grow up and you think you're like everybody else. You're like, what's the problem?
No. I'm glad I'm not like everybody else.
No.
Nah. I wouldn't change a day.
No, and I to this day, I always say, Mom, thank you for teaching me how to live in silence.
Yes, and to see the world.
I am not going to lie. When we were under lockdown for COVID, I was in hog heaven.
Jerome and I were hanging out.
I
we were
was
putting up
in hog
fences.
heaven. I loved it. I was like, hey, welcome to my world.
And you know what? When we were wearing those masks, I would be like, if you people could only sign, we could get through these transactions. I could sign
Everything.
And then I had that one interpreter that I'm going to go work with. She came up and she was like, because I couldn't hear her. And she was like, do you want me to sign it to you? And I said, please, yes. And she looked at me and I said, I know sign language. Like, I'm a coda. Well, I didn't know I was a coda then. And I was signing and she goes, oh, why aren't you an interpreter? I said, because I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready. But, okay. Well, thank you both.
Thank you.
Our podcast is over. Thank you, Jerome. Thank you, Sophia. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.